Yes.
I'm getting impressed, actually.
It works.
I know it is. There's still things I'm not sure about, but I'm starting to feel much more comfortable as we're starting. Before now, I was a little anxious to get the equipment working, but how are
Yes,
you?
I'm
Good to
very
see
good.
you.
How are you? Thank you.
Very good to see you. Today's a much better day over here for me.
Yes, same here, same here. I
Yes.
see some things changed. Your glasses are different, and there's a different background also. Have you changed the room?
I'm actually in the studio.
Ah, very good.
Yeah. And the other room is in my at my kitchen table.
Yes, that's cool.
Yeah. I came in here.
Yeah.
I really want to do these interviews outside, but it's
Mm,
so warm at this time of day here. So I just came in here to my studio. This is in my studio.
very good. Cool.
Yeah, I know you've been very busy today.
It's it's incredible. I'm very impressed about how the human voice is able to just keep talking all day, and it still is working, and it's very impressive. So this this human body is just a miracle in its own for some reason. And
It's pretty amazing.
yes,
It's pretty
yes,
amazing. So,
it's incredible. You
so
couldn't
I'm dying to ask you,
design better.
what's the buzz over there? What's going on with you?
Today is I don't know. It seems like it's some water themes showed up. So we talked about the moon yesterday and how it's
Mhm.
connected to water. And for some reason, water did show up a lot. And also primarily like contact to females. I'm talking. It's just the way it is. I'm mostly talking to females all day, and and also
Well,
yesterday
that's a good
during.
thing. Isn't it? Well,
But
you know
it's
what I
fine.
do? Well,
Yes.
I do think I do think that your energy as a male is well, I was talking with Audie last night about that. She's kind of a warrior friend,
Mm.
and we were having some similar emotions yesterday. And I was kind of sharing some of the things you had said to me because
Yes.
yesterday was painful to rewatch. I can assure you.
I don't know. I didn't.
Not
Lucky me.
from not from your end per se, but just seeing the depths of despair and emotion. And I think women in particular, and maybe that's not a fair statement, I'll actually retract that. I think humans in particular, if you're sensitive, there's just a lot, there seems to be a lot going on right now. And your energy comes through as very soothing and very calming.
Mm, I see.
And it's important. I think it's helping. I think you're helping the women by
Yeah,
being very centered and very grounded and just kind of reconnecting everyone back to center point. I know that's what's happening with me.
I
I don't
see.
know how that's impacting you.
It doesn't in a way.
Yeah.
Personally, of course, there's a. Mm, I had this talk yesterday during the eclipse. I was at a friend's place. She's an artist, and also her name is Diana. Fittingly, it's perfect.
Mhm.
And we talked. I need to distinguish the private content from what I can say publicly. But we were talking about this safety point in a way. If there's lots of emotion, lots and lots and lots of things going on, like you don't know why, but you feel really, really bad or sad or whatever. You won't complain if you're happy,
Right.
but it's the very same thing. So this firm ground, where you cannot be impacted by anything, is your deepest core. It's not something external, um, but also not something internal. That's where it gets tricky, because the path we talked about is, when you begin the journey, you seek for this everlasting freedom, joy, peace, and safety. Also, of course, where you're not
Mhm.
influenced by anything. So if
Mhm.
things get really hard, you wish, or you feel super alone or whatever it is, then you wish to have some firm ground somewhere, and you're um, seeking all your life in a way. Of course, many seek only external. Some turn around and seek inside, and that's also the right approach. But from this insight point, it leads beyond, and this point of beyond is already here. That's a secret, and it's not a secret. It's very, very real. Also, it's not fantasy or something. And that's the part we were talking yesterday during the eclipse. Um, it takes like, I need to share a private story of my own to give some understanding of where all of this is coming from. Um,
Mhm.
so if you're having like a serious death threat, um, like a infection, I had this infection, and the doctor told me like this is very, very serious. I couldn't talk at all, and I went to the doctor because I just got worse and worse. And he looked into my mouth, and his eyes suddenly started getting big. And yes, everything went very fast from that. But essentially, the words were like, "This is a very serious thing. You need to be like, it's an emergency. You need to go to hospital right now. They
No.
need to get this done today, and chances are not so good at all." And just the hearing of this makes like everything collapse. There's nothing you can do anymore to rescue or to solve with your mind. The only thing that happened, or it just happened, I surrendered completely, like 100%, and went through it. And this surrender, also the surgery. I mean, obviously it went fine. It's all right. But
This happened to you,
the
Jack?
sleep,
Jack,
yes,
this happened to
yes,
you?
yeah,
When?
yes, yes.
When?
I don't know, 2015, maybe
Okay.
the end of
But it
2015 or
wasn't this
20.
week. Yeah.
No, 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 no.
Okay.
It's fine. I mean,
Okay.
things have changed since then, and also another story that
That's
that
big.
lead that leads to, there's an urge. If there's a death threat, true death threat, there's an urge for, and there the mind completely loses everything, and there's the last attempt to seek safety fails.
Mhm.
The true surrender, even your own will, everything I surrendered everything, my person, my will, anything that's um that's there just surrender, and all that was left was peace. And it was a very strange experience to find this amazing freedom and peace in this situation. And it was just beautiful. And all all the time in the hospital, it was the best time I had. Like,
Mhm.
truly free. It was just literally mind blowing. There was just peace and nothing else. And I had
Mhm.
this beautiful time in hospital. But that wasn't the only instance. Um, another story. Again, it might be stupid, but I'll just talk about it.
There's,
Another
there's,
instance.
there's,
Uh,
there's nothing stupid, okay? There's nothing
yes,
stupid. And I'm
it's
going to
fine.
tell you a story after this too. I think we're talking about something that's important.
Yes, yes. I mean, there's this. How do you find this position of safety?
Mhm.
And in these kind of situations, maybe I don't need to give a second or third example. There are lots of examples that happen, but this is probably the one that can be told publicly without anything. But um, if there's this need or a panic attack, so to speak, where you are very certain that you're about to die,
Yeah.
and that also happened during um, uh, like a meditation retreat, and that was interesting also because that was even like stronger because it was like this fight inside. The person truly tried anything in its power to survive. And internally, there was this war, this last resort thing going on in a way.
Mhm.
And externally, I was just sitting, and the mind was screaming inside, like, get out, you're dying, everything it could, everything it could. And the effects were also bodily, like the heart was beating insanely fast and strong. And I was shaking in a way, just from the personal view. Everything was shaking.
Yeah.
Um, but still, in this very instance, the mind lost its power because I was just sitting and I was willing to die in this very moment,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
I didn't. a,
I'm
a
glad.
huge a huge part of my person did, though, um, also, and also the mind. I could clearly see that the mind is not the one in charge of this life.
Right.
But I was listening for so long, the subtle suggestions and everything, the terror of the mind and the stupid things. It was truly like this monkey on the shoulder, like do this and that,
Mhm.
but it has just this whispering voice that's in your head, like like thoughts, and sometimes you identify with this thought stream so much that you believe that this is your true being, and of course it's not. Of course it's not.
Right.
And afterward, it's still it is still present. Of course, the mind is there. It comes like a snake and tries to again suggest this, and this opportunity, this I don't know any. It is just over, but it needs attention and all the awareness, the presence, so it cannot seemingly take over. It cannot take over, but at times it seems like the suggestions are very good, and also um, it has a function, of course. The mind is
Mhm.
in a way. It's just dysfunctional sometimes, and leads to all the trouble we have in the world. All the trouble is from the mind. All the trouble in your life is from the
Mhm.
mind. And then this idea arises, and
Right.
it's also from the mind. This idea arises to kill the ego. No, it's not necessary. It is not necessary. This is just another game of the mind. And of course, the mind has no power um, in these situations where a death threat just appears, and then there's nothing it can contribute. It just gets silence because its game is over, and then your true being begins to shine through. The first time, maybe, the
Yeah.
first time you witness, oh my God, what a peace, what a joy this is in a death threat situation.
Mhm.
And that's
Yeah.
interesting, but also unnecessary in a way, because it is this position, this this peace, this freedom, and everything that's connected to it is already here. It is already here.
Right.
It is not somewhere deep inside. It is not somewhere far off. It is here, right here. It is you.
Mhm.
It
Right.
is truly you, but it is formless. It has no shape. It has no body. It has no mind. It has no person.
Mhm.
It just is, and it knows that it is, and that's all there is, and that's the only self-evident truth there is. I am, and nothing else. Nothing else, and nothing else is true. Actually, nothing else is true.
Right.
But this you cannot
But-
prove, and
Well,
that's
there's
the
some.
most stable. Yes.
No, I want you to finish your sentence, and then I have something I want. No,
There's a
go
little
ahead.
delay,
The most stable.
but this this position, this I am, is
Mhm.
your safety. It is your rescue. It is your freedom. And as soon as it goes beyond this I am, it is not a repeating sentence or something. It is also not a feeling. It is a knowing.
Mhm.
And as soon as it goes further, like I am this or that, I am feeling like blah blah blah, um, then it's this position is seemingly left. It is not, of course, because the witnessing of it all never ceases. It just seems, even in sleep, you still witness. Even, I don't know, in different, there are many different stages of consciousness. And in every state, in every altered state also, every state is witnessed. This witnessing you cannot pause and you
Mhm.
cannot stop also.
Mhm.
And that that self-evident truth is the position where you can just find your safety. If everything goes, if all the world is burning and all your world is crumbling down, everything you believed and
Mhm.
everything you thought was true, if everything is a lie, this is still true. This is still
Right.
your safety. So if you believe that you are this body or the person, um, of course death will death will threaten this because it's an
Right.
illusion, not true. It is just a temporary appearance. It is like a dress. You put it on and you
Mhm.
put it off. But the one wearing the dress has no form and no shape. And that's very different because it cannot be imagined also. It can only be known. And this position, you don't need any death threats to realize this because it already is here. So there is no need to go into the darkest dark to find the light. It might be necessary for some, but there's no need to to go to go all the way. It is very easy and it is already here. It is already realized also. The idea that it can be found is also just an illusion. It is not true. The only thing that is true is this knowing that you are. And that's the same for everyone. Everyone is using the very same reference with this I am. And
Mhm.
it can be super emotional and everything and very hard and challenging and whatever. And of course that's when you need to look for shelter. And if death comes and knocks, then this ultimate position needs to be found. And this is also the position that, of course, cannot die. It cannot die. You
Right.
cannot die. Only
Right.
your belief and your identity, the false identity, can die, but you cannot. And that's also very good news. It's very good.
It
If
is.
if
It
if
is.
it's
No, it is.
if it's true, then you, of course, you can also test if it is true for you. Then it can be challenged and everything. That, and
Right.
but there's a deep knowing that this is true. And at times where it seems important that some kind of story unfolds and some event needs to happen or whatever it is all just an idea. And it's perfectly all right. Of course, there's nothing wrong with the world. There's nothing wrong with a person and nothing wrong with the mind and the body. It's all fine. It's a beautiful play of this being in any shape and form there is. And it's beautiful because it's just life. It's the best self-entertainment, so to speak, that there is at all. And yeah, that's just beautiful. And it is just it also seems necessary for some reason. I don't know that this is accessible in this relative realm of of change and of where there seems to be safety at all. I mean, there are these ideas how to transcend and get enlightened and everything, but it's not necessary.
Mhm.
It's this very
Mhm.
simple, easy, self-evident knowing that everyone has already. And if there's a
Mm.
need to to go to this position, then it's seemingly because some very threatening things happen, and the person is not able to defend against like this huge
Mhm.
force, seemingly. But of course, it's just again a part of this play. It's birth and death are part of life, and it's all
Mhm.
natural, and it's fine. And
Mhm.
to know this position is is everything gets easy, of course. If you know you cannot die, it's just this form that you clinch to and hold on to. No, 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 no. I don't want to die. Of course you don't.
Mm-hmm.
That's also natural. But by knowing that you cannot die, everything becomes just easy. You can relax. There's no threat.
Mm-hmm.
There can't be any threat. And um, life is just the way it is. And there's nothing to correct, nothing to improve, nothing to change. Also, you can just enjoy life as it is. You can welcome every situation as it is. You can maybe take a learning approach. Everything, you're thankful for everything and everyone that comes, and even if if it's seemingly very stressful and you cannot bear someone or something, um, with this approach and this openness to learn from everything, um, and then you are thankful, and then that also changes everything else. But that's just from the relative um, knowing. If you know who you are, then you know everything you meet and everything you see. Everyone is actually essentially you also.
Right.
Um,
Right.
but you need.
I slip in and out of that present moment awareness. I kind of slip in and out of that. I do have a story to tell you that's a coincidence. I don't think I've told you about,
I'm listening. I'm happy to
related
hear.
to, well, related to your two near-death experiences and
Yes.
your um, awarenesses that came from those experiences. I
Um,
also had,
I need. I just need to say
okay,
it was just a
okay.
removing of that which was already present. It was not something that has been added, an experience or so. It was just something was removed in this death threat. It was the illusion and um, this false idea that has been removed in this threat. It is not something that has been added. It is not like an experience that can be chained. It is just the removing of that seemingly was covering this, but that's also just an idea. I just needed to point this out because it's very important. Because
Right,
then the idea is that you need this experience to actually this death threat to experience it, and that's not true. You already are experiencing it right now. Everyone watching is already experiencing it, and
right.
that's important to point out. I'm sorry.
No, no, no. It's interesting how these conversations unfold. And I'm excited and glad that we're doing it. I should say for anyone who's watching that Jack and I um, coincidentally connected about a month ago, and we're just having these conversations as they unfold. They're kind of unfolding before us too. We don't really have any idea why we're doing this, and, but as long as it seems like the thing to do, we will do it. But what I wanted to tell you is I also had a near-death experience, a very intense one. And
Mm,
so, and I also realized that that does not, it's not required to have that experience to have the awareness that you're having. But um, I had an aneurysm or a brain bleed, and I was unconscious for 10 days. Uh,
mm,
and I was very aware I was dying on the
mm,
physical level, but on the, and this was uh, 14 years ago, I think. But
Yeah.
on the from a light standpoint, I was completely lucid, and I realized why I had created the aneurysm, which was an ego-based creation. And I
Mm.
also felt my soul take over, like an override. And I remember many lucid experiences as a light being traveling, and many exchanges with other light beings traveling. And at the end, I asked to come back, because I was aware that I had already created this perceived lifetime with specific things that I wanted to do, which I call a mission. A lot of people think that's too intellectual or too ego-based to think you even have a mission, but I did feel like I had a mission. So I asked to come back, but only if I had a perfect healing. And the exchange with whatever, it was looked like a light galaxy. It felt like pure love. But the exchange was, I want to go back to finish this life, but only if I have a perfect healing, because I didn't want to come back otherwise. I didn't think it would be useful.
Mm.
And so that was agreed. And then flipping back to this perspective, whatever that is, I woke up, and my neurological team was very surprised to see me. And they took me in for my fourth set of brain scans, and I had perfect scans. And they were very
Yeah.
surprised about that. And so since then, for the last 14 years, I have never seen a doctor. I have not felt compelled that I needed to do that. And this last year, I went in for a set of physicals and things like that to just get an opinion, and I had perfect health. But
Yes.
all of that really has nothing to do with what you're talking about. And what you're talking about is that self-awareness of the eternal, that of which you are, which I felt. And um, as you were describing, everything fell away that was ego based. It didn't, I realized it didn't, it was a movie. It's just a movie. It's an illusion. It's
Yeah.
storylines that we're creating. And what it did for me is I find myself not wanting to waste any time anymore. Um, if I
Yes.
if I'm in a experience that feels luminous, I just say, yes, I want that. And if it feels low energy frequency or out of balance or unrelated to my own reality, I just step out of it, and it's very quick. And I think um, what what having the near death experience did for me is it made me realize that I didn't want to waste time on things that
Yes.
didn't mean anything, or were not
Yeah.
congruent energetically.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
it made me feel more aware that everyone here is on their own uh, creative journey, and that every incarnation of every form here has its own expression, its own timeline, its own perspective.
Sure.
Um, and I slip in and out of that because I do judge that at times, and I realize that I have to let go of that. That really the only uh, significance that matters is my own mirroring of my own growth, whatever that is.
Mm.
And So when you're saying it doesn't, that it's fine and that the things that you're saying that are very soothing, it's a reminder because I'm watching how quickly the ego tries to seize back the control of that.
Yes,
And it did,
yes,
in the near-death experience, there is that relinquishing of surrender
yes,
that is very
yes.
powerful. It's very
Of course,
powerful.
of course. It
Um,
becomes very clear when death is present. Um, then the mind and the ego won't dare to make any noise. They will just keep very still. So they don't. That's what happened. Of course,
yeah,
after the experience, it returns. It was just keeping still, and in this very instance of when the mind and the ego were okay, that death is present. They won't dare to move or do anything, and that's when you finally, oh my God, oh my God, it was
yeah,
here all the time. Then this realization, it is not a realization like intellectually. It
right,
is like you recognize like that the heart is shining. There's no cloud in the sky of your own heart present. So it fully shines, and you've at the first time you experience that this has been you all the time, and the perfect healing. It is there are miracles and wonders. There's no question about it, and the body heals, the mind heals, and everything. But the perfect healing is the realization of who you are, because then
I agree.
any anything that has been imagined to reach or to improve or a mission, anything of this ceases. There's no need to take one step further because you are realizing you are there. You are the goal. You have already achieved it. The mission is accomplished. It is it is over in a way, and that's the perfect healing because even if the body lives for, I don't know, pick a time you want to live, it won't be
Right.
enough. It won't be
Oh, I think
enough.
it's going to be plenty here.
The only thing the ego and the mind can do is to buy time, to buy more time. So if death is present, of course, um, there's a need for time and more time, and the closer it gets, the more threatening, and the options run out. And if death is like, I don't know, 1 year away, then you can still do some things. If it's 1 month away, there are less things you can do. You won't be able to travel all over the whole planet. If there's 1 week left, there's even even less that you can do. Then it goes down to 1 hour. Maybe you can say goodbye and call your loved one. 1 minute, 30 seconds. And the last thing that you can do and that you eventually must do, is to surrender. And that you can do even if death is not present. If you're completely surrendered, death cannot touch. It is impossible because even death is an idea in life as part of life. And it has a function. It is very natural also. And the only thing that seemingly is not super fitting in this whole game is the mind and the limited idea of who you are. And that even the idea you believe that if you believe you are this body, you are this person, you are this mind, then of course death can touch. But just you believe that you are this limited identity, which you are not, it's not true. It is just not true. So
Right.
if death comes and knocks, like in this approach, 30 seconds away, and then 1 second, and here it is. You surrender all of this. All of this is surrendered and left behind.
Mhm.
But still, um, this is witnessed. This transition is also witnessed. And the witness is you. So you
Mhm.
even witness death and the process of death. So you cannot be in this because you are witnessing it. Even this. So you witness everything all the time from a position that is not involved in anything. No matter how bad or good it is, you are actually not involved. You're just witnessing. It is completely untouchable. And also, it is possible, it feels very real, of course, if you believe in this body, in this identity, and everything, then it feels so real. And that's, of course, why you cannot just wash it off. It doesn't matter if there's suffering or whatever. No, it doesn't matter because
Mhm.
you know that it feels real for any individual, for everyone. It seems real. So you have this compassion also for everyone who is suffering, and there's
Mhm.
no need to just take some strange position where this couldn't matter, or it does. Of course, it seems so real that it's that you just with this knowing um, the the only thing that is possible is to maybe just share in a way and to talk about it because at some point you need to hear it also if you're deeply searching for this knowing um, then you eventually will get to it and then you will laugh maybe for days and weeks because it was here all the time and it
Right.
was you actually and you
Mhm.
you could you will see through it just in an instant and also um, the person is changed by this knowing and the mind is changed by this knowing and you cannot pretend anymore to be
Right.
something or someone you are not. And of course life continues in this body and life continues in this person also, but the person is very there's very little left. um, the mind doesn't die, the person doesn't die, it is just a belief, and you know that it's just a belief, and that makes everything so easy. And so if you're looking for a perfect healing, the perfect healing for the body isn't possible. Anything that comes will go. Anything. If you witness
Mhm.
and know this, then you also know there is no solution in keeping the body forever alive in a way. it doesn't, or the idea of transcending or transforming the human consciousness in the machine or something. There are crazy ideas out there, really, really
Mhm.
amazing, awesome ideas, but it is not what leads to a final solution. Perfect
Mhm.
healing is already here, and it is already you.
Right.
And
I agree with that.
so you can start with this position, actually, if you
Mhm.
inquire with a tool um, that Ramana Maharshi gave, the inquiry of just simply inquiring, who am I? And it is this thought that just rings like a bell, and the bell eventually leads, the sound thins out, and it leads into silence. And also the inquiry, who am I, um, leads into kind of silence. And this silence is very close to this. It's probably the best the best way to describe it is to describe it as silence. But even silence is witnessed by it,
Mhm.
and it could be described as space, but it is also not space because space is
Mhm.
witnessed by it. So it's
Mhm.
beyond silence and beyond space even. Even if you just imagine an empty space, this empty space is witnessed. And it is also almost impossible to imagine empty space. But even the empty space it is beyond, you are beyond the empty space itself, because you can witness even space. You can witness complete darkness. Anything you can witness. And anything witnessed is not in this position. It's like this invisible window, and everything beyond um, the window is like part of the world. It's all part of the construct, and it actually doesn't matter how it's constructed. It's a mystery on its own. You will never get to the point of it because you are already there. Again, it's an idea. How does this universe work or anything?
Mhm.
It's part of the play of life to investigate how where this all comes from, how it works, how to live, all part of life, and it's all fine. It's all fine. Um, even the bad things are part of life, and you cannot avoid. It's just part of the play. If you if you want exclusively the good, it doesn't work this way. If you try to grab the good, at some point you will also, by grabbing the good, you will have the bad, because it's always both. It just seems like it's just good or just bad. It's always both.
Mhm.
So there are teachings that are relative, how to find it and how to realize it, and but it's just too simple. The mind doesn't allow this simplicity of this knowing. But this knowing, if you inquire who you are, and you're like leaving anything just aside, like in this true surrender moment of a death threat, it doesn't need to come this way. Of course it can. I mean, I'm
Mhm.
very thankful for this. It wasn't something bad. It was a very, very, very good experience. But in this experience, it wasn't good at all, of course,
Mhm.
until the surrender has taken place. And that is also part of the game. There's in this relative experience, there's this free will. If you think about it, absolutely, just one being and everything is one. This doesn't apply, but in the world it applies, and this um, free will includes also to decide to surrender completely, 100%. And by this surrender, you will realize who you are. And it's just
Mhm.
that everything falls off. The ideas of who you are, any fear of life and death falls off. Any need to do anything, also, the burdens of life fall off. You still do things, but you don't, you just do it. If you eat, you eat. If you
Mhm.
drive, you drive. Everything seems normal, but it's completely different because it's it's not hard anymore. There's no threat to to build safety or to create an image that needs to be defended and sustained. Of
Right.
course, you still care for your body. Why would you not?
Right.
You you still enjoy traveling, talking, everything. It seems like
Mhm.
everything is the same, but also it's
Mhm.
very different. And that's the key that you said. You don't want to waste your time anymore. Um,
In
you
anything, it's
fully
like
you
it's
fully
it's
experience life in this freshness. Every day is just amazing. It's a wonder. It's it's mind
it
blowing
is.
actually.
It is mind blowing. It is mind blowing, and I think kind of going back to that thing about not wasting, wanting to waste time is really more about I kind of see myself as an orb traveling, and that I am both all of creation and this perspective, which I identify as me, even though there is no me. So when I'm thinking of my life, and I don't mean just this chapter, which is Marcia McCoy on the earth as a woman at this time, but in a much bigger, longer storyline, when I uh, think of that, then I realize that things like what I'm drawn to and what I'm attracted to is pretty much all I'm interested in putting energy behind. And the other things that are going on in the world in some way feel like they don't exist because my attention isn't there. Um, for example, when I say I don't want to waste time, it's that I have a very long body memory of uh, life, and it's not limited to this dimension or this planet or even this universe. Um, I have a sense that congruent orbs sometimes travel together in groups, um, but that it's an eternal forever thing. And I think the best way I heard it described was by Esther, who was doing some Abraham work, channeling some Abraham work, and I paraphrasing, but it was something to the fact that we're the eyes of source, that for whatever reason on this planet, in some paradigms, we were given the message that, okay, here's how I can best say it. There's an old paradigm here that I think is shattering right now. It's a shattering mirror. And that old paradigm is that we're here and everything out here is happening and we're reacting to that. And that's an old paradigm, because what I realized, and what I think many people are realizing, and is that actually it's the opposite, that we're here and what we're imagining, what we're creating by giving our attention to it, is what's showing up. And so actually what's occurring in the movie is an echo of what I've been feeling, what I've been thinking, what I'm energetically creating. And so when you realize that everything that's showing up is an echo of where I've been with my own imagination and my own energy and my own creation, then you realize you're creating your own reality, and every other person is too, and every other essence of creation is creating. When you have that new paradigm of realizing you're creating your own reality and it's appearing, then it puts up the idea of, what do I want to create? What am I attracted to? And what am I interested in? On what frequencies? And why am I doing this? And what does it mean? And what it means to me is, I believe we are the eyes of creation, that we are creation. And our individual sparks are like perspectives, and we're informing back to the whole all of these experiences and perspectives, not only from this reality, but many realities. So when you realize that, we're responsible for what we're creating. And when I've talked with people, like for example, when spontaneous perfect healings have occurred in energy sessions and things like that, what I realize is that what's creating that is a soul essence creating it. And it eliminates the victim mentality totally, because you're doing it, you're creating it. I have noticed that sometimes people get very upset when you tell them that they're creating their own reality, that they're creating their own illnesses, even by their thoughts or by their not paying attention to what's showing up in the body temple that's giving us attention, giving us an opportunity to make adjustments. Where am I going with that? I guess what I'm trying to say is that with all this said and done, I find almost the entire activities of humans to be very, I'm not really sure why they're doing what they're doing down here. It seems like the trick is to step out of the ego mind of the treadmill, to step off of that. And I know for myself, I'm desiring to step out of my own ego again, that I kind of learned those experiences. I had a certain revelation from my near-death experience, a certain peacefulness. And then I am observing with myself that I got caught up again with the addiction of thinking. the addiction of ego. And so these conversations, I think, are reminding me again about being, being. And I've noticed for myself, and I think some of it has to do with everything that's going on in my own country. It's a little frenetic. And so to take a step back from that and return to center point seems essential to me,
The thing
which
is,
is a place of
yes, the idea that you need to step out of a limited existence is just an idea. You were never in this limited existence. This
Mhm.
limited existence is in you. It's not the other way
Mhm.
around. There's nothing to be freed from this body. It's not a trap. It is all in you. And any idea of eternal um, or encapsulations of you in a soul, in a mind, in a body, whatever it is also an idea. It is, of course, very, um, it's just, you know, so there's nothing to escape from, nothing um, to run. It seems like it is a running from yourself all the time with any of these ideas and changes and even collectively things to do. Um, it seems like it is a running all the time. You run and run and run from this truth because it is the ultimate absolute death. By knowing this, the game is over. Um,
Mhm.
you won't believe in these concepts or things anymore. You won't um, believe in addictions of of thought or anything. That's just a person, the mind and the person working together to keep this illusion up, um, that
Mhm.
this is
Yeah.
real and that that things can be changed or transcended by the person or something that is in the person that needs to be freed. It is just an idea, and the only thing that is true is that you are, and you are witnessing all of this, all of this. Everything is witnessed, and just the remembering of who you truly are. Then you don't need um, to go into these concepts and to chase paths that don't lead you to this truth, because any path is a running actually and a movement from this stillness that is your true position. And it's beyond stillness even and beyond any idea, any imagination there is. And it seems like, of course, there's this kind of in this realm of relative things. It seems like there's this co-creation, and that's also happening. Of course, that's true, but it is also just part of anything. I'm I'm having funny noises again, but it's fine.
You know, you
I'm
know what?
hearing, yes,
Yesterday, I re-listened to our video and I heard what you were talking about, and it sounded like aliens on the line.
yes, of
They're
course.
like,
But
sound.
even if the aliens from all over the galaxy would listen to this, it is um, still just an idea, because in truth it's just this this connection to the source of of anything that is already here. And of course, there are so many fascinating things going on in the world, and you can get lost in countless ways. But still, if you found yourself, if you stopped running from this knowing who you are, it's very hard actually. It hurts. It's pretty tough, um, because it truly is ultimate death. And still, even this ultimate death in this relative realm cannot touch who you are. Cannot, can never, nothing of it. If the whole universe could implode in a second, it wouldn't touch, because all of it would be witnessed. You are witnessing all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And there's stages of witnessing. Um, you
Hmm.
can you can witness your thoughts, and then you can also witness the one witnessing the thoughts. It's like a backwards movement, and you keep,
Mm-hmm.
if you think you got the position, you found it, you know where you're looking from, then you don't, because it is beyond anything. If you think you can see your thoughts and you can see the seer, this is also seen, and then it's always, it is not reachable, it is only knowable. And that makes, doesn't make it very easy to explain, because actually you cannot use words. Words can point to you,
Mm-hmm.
and of course it's not external, it's but it's also not internal, it's beyond both. And and this noise, it sounds like someone is like scratching or building a wall, or I don't even know what it is, but the
You're
sound
hearing
is,
that you're
yes, of
hearing?
course. Yes,
Sam,
it comes from the phone. I don't know, but we are used to this. Um, it is like if you're in a lucid dream,
uh-huh.
um, then it already is over, because you know you're dreaming. But before you, if you're in a regular dream, um, and that you cannot read or anything, that you need to experience on your own, and that you can, of course, it's possible for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like in the regular dream, where everything is very like not clear and everything, you seem, you won't, there are so many strange things going on, but you believe that it's true and it's just normal, because it's just happening, and it's quite regular in a dream state that very strange things don't even get noticed. Sometimes you remember the next day, you wake up and, oh my god, that was a strange dream. It is
Mm-hmm.
completely cannot happen, right? But in a lucid dream,
Mm-hmm.
when you wake up in a dream realizing that it is a dream, the dream figures will eventually try to stop you from waking up. And there are distractions all over, all over, trying everything to stop you from waking up. But if you're at a certain degree, if you just ignore the disturbance and you keep focusing, um, and you reach like the knowing that you are dreaming, then it's too late. It's, the game is over, because
Mm-hmm.
you realize that the dream as it is. It is just a projection. And those trying to prevent you from waking up was just a force of your own subconscious. Try, that's just a natural function of just keeping the mind out of all of your dream world, because it's a burden to live with the mind. Actually, in the dream world, it's just allowed to flow more freely. That's how these absurd things are allowed to happen in dream. It's just more free. And the lucid dream state is, know that you're dreaming, and you instantly create anything you can imagine. And that's a very cool state. But also, that's not the ultimate state. It is not the ultimate state, because the ultimate state is witnessing also the one having the lucid dream. And of course, the whole lucid dream and the projection. So it is not, even if it seems like you are the creator of everything, then this is witnessed. And this witnessing is never reachable. It cannot be reached because you are already it. And any approach to grasp or to get it will, of course, fail. It is just an idea. Again, it is also in this play at a very high stage, so to speak. And you can again fall for the illusion, because essentially, if you're in a lucid dream, you are the creator of your existence. But it's not the final place, because it also comes and it goes. And it is witnessed, and every change is witnessed. So the only constant in the world or in the reality, any reality there is the change. And the other constant, so to speak, but is essentially part of it, is the one witnessing all of this. And this one also doesn't change. So everything changes and nothing changes at the same time. And that's very, very strange. And the mind cannot deal with these kind of things, because it cannot make a concept out of this. It cannot explain how the mind wants to truly explain anything, and to gain its power from being able to explain everything and to make things possible. But of course, it cannot explain this. It's just a part of it, and it's all fine. Of course, there's nothing wrong about it. It's just a very, very almost perfect game that's happening. So don't worry about any distraction, and just keep remembering or surrendering. Even just keep surrendering, surrender, and not only by talking or thinking about it, but by actually doing it. And at some point, you might get the chance to truly surrender. Life takes care of life, is something I heard, and in a way, you being life will get the chance to reach it. Of course, it's also wonderful and part of this play that this can happen. And that's essentially when you don't want to waste any more time, then you essentially will use your time to find the timeless, to find yourself. Not follow any fancy ideas. There's so many
Mhm.
fancy ideas of transcendence and fifth dimension or whatever it is, but
Mhm.
it doesn't
Right.
help. It
I agree.
just,
That in itself can be a big distraction.
yes,
Really, you know,
yeah. And
yeah.
there's there's nothing more. That's I can I can only point at this, and at some point it repeats, of course, and it always, no matter from where you're pointing, and that's also very interesting. No matter where you're pointing, in a way you're always pointing at yourself. So
Right.
it's fine. You can follow these fancy concepts. Uh, there's also a very good experience connected to it. If you're learning how to lucid dream, there's a technique you can do it. Then you
Mhm.
will eventually experience it, but the experience will come and go,
True.
and that's not what you're looking for. At some point, you don't want to waste your time with these things that don't lead you where you want to go, and
Mhm.
that's eventually you find it. All right, I am it. It is already here, and it was a distraction to search it. Cannot be
Right.
found because it was never lost. It is also just an idea that it can be found. It was never lost. It's always here. And
Mhm.
yes, and it's beautiful.
It is beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
There's, there are some people that are watching, and I just want to say something to them. Jack and I just started this in the last couple of weeks, and so how to use this format is still revealing itself. I can see on my screen that you're watching, and if you do have a question or a comment, I could read that to Jack. You can't see what's on my screen, can you, Jack?
Well, I'm not that advanced to jump
Okay.
into your room in a way
Yeah,
to
I know.
remotely view.
No,
So
I know. Actually, I'm gonna. Okay,
I'm trying hard.
and I'm blocking that. Just a second. First of all, I want to say to the people that are watching, I don't know if I tapped on you, if you would pop up on the screen. And because Jack and I just kind of got this part worked out where we're both on the screen, I'm afraid to do that because I'm afraid I'll disconnect. So if you want to say something or have a question or a comment, just type it, and I think that will show up and read. And if you don't have anything you want to say, that's fine too. Um, so I just want to acknowledge that. Also, if anyone has ever done these live videos, if there's a way I can make Jack bigger and me the tiny piece, I want that because I'm like trying to see you, and I would rather have you big. And I'm doing these interviews from my phone since all of my equipment is shorting out, I guess, from all my frequencies. So anyway, that's just a little housekeeping to say something to the audience. Remote viewing, yes, I'm blocking you. When you mentioned remote viewing, I was like,
Well,
oh,
yes.
I wonder if everybody's doing remote viewing if they can see me when I'm sleeping or if I'm taking a shower. You know, I started feeling a little shy about being remotely viewed. So
Yes.
I also understand remote viewing because when I go into sessions, I do see things, um, you know, all over, whether it's with a specific person I'm in session with or whatever. And that's usually from my orb perspective. So Anyway, I'm just commenting on the remote viewing because I like it, but
It
I'm
is
also
cool.
blocking it.
It is very cool.
What?
It is very cool. Everyone can also learn it. It's very, very effective. But
Mhm,
it's just in a way it's fun, of course. And it's not
mhm,
again this what you might if you're looking for entertainment, there will be any entertainment you can imagine in the world. You actually, as a person, any deep wish of the heart will become reality in a way. But it is
mhm.
not the ultimate um, goal, so to speak. Um,
Right.
but still, it's fun and it works. So why not just do it and try lucid dreaming, remote viewing, and anything
Right.
that you like. Train your intuition. It's just everything is possible. Everything.
Right.
And
Right. I think that's
still,
exciting.
yes, it's true.
It's
Everything is
exciting
possible.
to, yeah, it's exciting to start realizing everything's possible. I think that's
Sure.
exciting.
This um, reality is in a way similar, but not the same as a lucid dream. In a lucid dream, um, the person is the only creator of its own reality. And in this realm, it's like this collective mix of projections that is somehow also coming together. So collective wishes are taking place slowly. Everything needs to be arranged, and it takes time to manifest, so to speak. In a lucid dream, everything you imagine as a person is instantly becoming your reality, instantly, and it even
Hmm.
more. It seems more real than this reality. It's brighter. Everything is more colorful and different, of course, but it's
Hmm.
kind of connected and similar. But it's not the absolute. Everything is witnessed, and it is not. It doesn't lead to it because again it is already here. That's just how it is. But no need to take anything too serious, so you can just play around, play, experience, have fun in this human body, enjoy it. It's awesome to be human, to witness the person, to use memory, to and there's so many things. It's just beautiful. It's magic. It's purely magic. How could this actually work? And it still is working. And there's no need for an explanation. Some things just need to stay in the mystery. And even the mystery is a part of this great entertainment we all take part in. So why not just enjoy it? It's just cool. And I hope I'm just checking the screen here in my hand, but I think I cannot see anything. I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, do you see me?
I see you, of course,
Okay, but you don't
and that's
see
also
what's on
very
this.
interesting. the another it's just if you actually look at the screen of your phone, you always see a reflection of yourself, but it's hidden because the light of the phone is superimposing this mirrored image, but it's there. You're always looking at yourself. Actually, that's just another fun thing to note at this point. I'm looking at you, but I'm looking at me also, and not only like truly, but also like really here in this realm. It's funny.
Mhm.
So the black mirror. thing is everyone is looking at the phone all the time, all the time.
Yeah.
And of course, consciously taking like these selfie pictures and everything,
Mhm.
but everyone is looking at the very own mirror, like literally all the time, like
Right.
using the phone. It's just superimposed. And if you look carefully, you can see the reflections happening on the phone. Of course, it's just the person reflected, but also in a way, it symbolizes our process of becoming more and more conscious because the attention goes in this direction. It seemingly goes outside, but it's actually just reflecting. And then that's also very true for all of reality in a way. It is all you, but it's also not because you're witnessing all of it. So
Right.
I think that that's again just a very late addition to this whole talk, and
Uh-huh.
I'm also sure that viewers will have questions. May, are there any questions right now? Can you see
No,
anything?
no,
That's
no,
perfect. That's perfect.
yeah.
Yes. Yes.
No, people are just watching, and then what I might do is say after, uh, because this will be posted after other people have a chance to watch it. If they want to ask questions, we can always address them in a different
Yes. Yes, of course.
yeah, but I think also right now it's like, I don't know, 3 o'clock here. So people are kind of, if they are working, are
Yes.
probably working. Um,
Yeah.
to
I
me,
mean,
this is work.
I'm very
To
happy
me, this
about the
is my work.
questions, but
Yeah, I
I'm
like.
also very happy if there's no question because seemingly it was clear then. I'm not sure.
Mhm,
Sometimes, of course, it takes time to process.
mhm,
Um, I also personally had this phase of processing all of this. Of course, it's a paradox. It takes time to realize something like this,
mhm.
and that's also fine. So I'm happy about questions. Um,
Yeah.
and if you also have like urgent questions, of course, um, I have no. I'm very sure I'll come up with some questions. There's actually just one questions.
Okay.
There's one single question. As always, I'm very sorry. It sounds like a joke, but who am I? Is the only question that is
Mhm,
important.
mhm.
No, nothing else is important.
It's true.
And this inquiry will lead to the knowing. If there's an urge for knowing, then this urge is fulfilled.
Mhm.
It
That's
seemingly
beautiful.
is painful because the everything that has been acquired and that is false is just falling off. So
Right.
it's a it better be prepared to just let go and surrender.
It's true. It is true, Jack. Thank you. That's beautiful.
Thank you very
Um,
much.
Audie and I were talking about that a lot last night too. We had a long talk last night after,
Yes,
um, and a lot of it was about letting go,
yes,
just letting go, and um, that was a powerful conversation. It's also a powerful practice.
yes,
Um,
yes,
it also feels well, it was interesting because we also, after talking about um, a lot of different spiritual concepts or beingness or being now and being in now, But we also got off on a subject that is probably just related to the timeline of this planet. But the context was there's two women talking who are like, have been warriors for quite some time now. And I think surprising to both of us, we started talking about the idea of romance and the idea of a return to romance, to a gentler time of love and but for women. And that's why I said I'm not surprised when you're telling me a lot of women around the world are contacting you. I think there is this, or at least it happened between Audie and I in our conversation, was just this feeling that we have been in this kind of warrior mode for a while and we're kind of over it. You know, it's like more desire around a gentler time and a quieter time and a more cooperative time with each other as spirits and humans and other creatures that are here. We're all, it feels like the conversation around the desire to bring romance or unconditional love and nourishing, not only nourishing among our self to self, but also nourishing of each other as people on the journey. There was a call, I think, and I wish she was watching right now to clarify the point, but the call was a desire, at least from the women, to return to balance and harmony in a quieter, gentler way, a more loving way and less armed, less warrior-like. You know, it's kind of a desire to be back in the garden in a gentle way with everything, not just romantic love, but all love was just, and so our evening was very tender. We were just able to talk about wanting to let the armor down and be. And we were talking about what we're letting go of right now. We're both changing a lot of things right now. And for me, the change is a return to the garden.
Sure. If you realize,
so I don't even know, Jack, if there's a question there, but it's more about an elusive insight. I think you mentioned it when we first met, talking about Notre Dame, and also the divine feminine. We kind of touched on that briefly, but I think it's connected to this.
Of course. In this relative realm, all of this is happening. Of course, there's this urge and this great wish that things change, and it's also happening. Of course, change is inevitable. It's just happening, and also from a certain perspective, if you realize who you are, then you are in the garden. Everything is paradise. And just by this, everything changes. There's no need to go and change the world in a way, because if you change yourself by knowing who you are, your world and the world all over will change by this. And that's the 100th monkey, of course.
Right. It is the 100th monkey.
That's just how it is. If you realize who you are, everything changes. Everything changes. The 100th monkey, the 100th person, might be like, I don't know, a critical mass of very, very few people. or
Mhm.
person, so to speak, surrendering and realizing this, of course, it will change everything. If there's a critical mass of, so to speak, lucid dreamers, but beyond it, this whole reality will change instantly, very
Mhm.
fast. Just to do. And you change yourself by surrendering. There's no need to fight. If you are peaceful, it always takes at least two for a fight. If one is not fighting, then there is no fight.
Right.
Cannot cannot happen. So if you truly surrender, and of course, if you really want to surrender, you need a place of safety where you don't need to defend anything, and that is your true position. And from
Mhm.
this position, everything changes. The whole reality, of course, can change by this. And there's not even a need to change it by this knowing. You just witness and you truly just, you're just the way you are, completely natural, completely defenseless also. Um,
Mhm.
but so easy, everything flows and it's just beautiful. And you just keep staying as you are. Even if it seems like you shift back to person mode, this shift is also witnessed. So you just stay as you are, and you stay, and no matter how big the distraction is, you stay. And with this stability that is coming, of course, the disturbance is getting, even in this moment, is getting stronger and stronger. You keep
Mhm.
staying as you are, because it's also very easy. You don't sit around and meditate yourself into this. No, you just stay as you are, completely natural.
Mhm.
It cannot be easier. And then with this 100th monkey effect, everything changes. That there is no need for the 8 billion humans on this planet to realize it. It only needs a very small part. And even
Right.
this is an idea. It is an idea because it doesn't matter at all. If you know who you are, it is just a dream change of reality. It has
Right.
nothing to do with you. You don't change. You are perfect already. It's just part of the play. So let's play this 100th monkey game if you like. It's
Yeah.
fine. Let's change the whole planet if you like.
Right.
It's fine. If there's a
Well, that,
wish, then it can happen, of course.
yeah.
But it's
Well, I
not
think
about
that's my
changing the world.
dream.
It's about changing yourself. And the surrender, the surrendering, the
Right.
surrendering is your work, and no, it cannot be done by anyone else. No one can be encouraged to do it. If you want to be free and to change the world, at some point you even forget about this need to change anything. You just are. And by being it, anything changes on its own. It's very natural. Anything becomes easy. The whole world is beautiful. You can be in a complete mess. Your tiny spot is shining in this complete mess. So your reality is peaceful and everyone else is having whatever. But again, this is just an idea. It is only important for this relative existence. And if you know who you are, none of this is important. The only thing important is just to stay with it and and to keep surrendering. It's a process. It's not just um, a thing that needs to be checked off and then you're free. No, it's a process. It's a process. It's a daily routine to be aware, um, to watch the mind and
Mm-hmm.
um, to stay with it. And at some point, of course, there's enough stability that you're on firm ground in formlessness.
Mm-hmm.
That's a paradox, of course, again, but you
Yeah, that
are
was beautiful.
rescued and saved. And that's, yeah, the part of it. So if there's a 100th monkey game, let's play. It's fine.
I guess that's the game I'm playing. I don't know, or
Yeah,
whatever.
it's fine. Yeah, it's
You know,
completely
it's
fine.
just, I think what is it? It's a desire to create from a place of memory where it was much more luminous and in harmony and balance, with less friction and um, with more consciousness, I guess. I have a hard time putting into words what I'm feeling, which is more about the desire for uh, harmony.
Yes,
I don't think
perfect.
that really, I don't think I've said what I'm trying to say, but I
Don't
don't
worry.
know how, I don't know how to say it because it's kind of from a place of a world without words, and it's a fluidity and a balance that's harmonic. And I think 100th Monkey is about flipping on the switch for a lot of people. Maybe it's
Of
only
course.
for me, but it's a desire, I think, somehow.
Yes,
That's probably a entirely created ego-based storyline, but from my heart, it comes that way.
of course. And it's fine. You could actually maybe just realize who you are, use the inquiry, and then just take your seat and watch it all unfold on its own.
Uh-huh.
And that's all there is to do, nothing more. And it's even
Yeah.
not a doing in this way. But of
Mhm.
course, it is a very high potential, and there's a certain reality for it. Um, so, yes, it's just about realizing who you are, and that changes everything. It instantly changes your reality individually, of course.
Uh-huh.
And that's the best you can do, even if it's like from an like from an individual mission point, so to speak. If you realize who you are, then you have achieved the highest there is, of course. And by this, everything changes, and you can relax because you know about the reality of things. You can see through it, and
Mm-hmm.
from this position, you're again doing what you always have been doing and
Mm-hmm.
always will be doing, and doing in this eternal moment. You just witness anything.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's a desire to change the movie, so to speak, then the movie will change, of course.
Yeah, and it is.
So
And it
everything.
is. Yeah.
So
I
I'm
didn't
getting like
hear that
two
last
two
sentence.
signals.
I didn't hear your last
Yeah,
sentence.
it's it's
There you go.
it's fine. The phone battery is
Yeah.
all coming slow, and there's also a network connectivity, so signal to probably wrap it up.
Yeah.
But yes, it has a reality, and let's play this game. It's fine. But the to play the game or to become an active player of the 100th monkey game, so to speak, you just realize who you are and everything is perfect. Very easy.
Well, I want to thank you again for sharing and having this
Thank you.
exchange. I think it's important. So thank you. I am going to
Thank you
call you.
for
I am going to call you again after this because I still have some things I want to talk to you about. But I just want to thank you for sharing because I feel like at least in this country that there's a lot of energy swirling around, and your calmness and clarity is kind of a beacon of light right now. In terms of energetically. So I thank you for taking the time to have these exchanges. Thank you.
thank you. Beautiful, wonderful. So much love, and don't forget to enjoy yourself. It's important.
I know I'm working on that. Okay. All right. Well,
All
I'm
right.
gonna hit finish and I'll send you a copy of this, and then if you have a couple minutes, I want to call you real quick.
Sure. All
Okay.
perfect.
Okay. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you for
Thank
everyone
you.
who's watching. If you have comments, please leave them on the video, or if you have questions or it's something you would like to see further. We're just making this up as we go along, and we're pretty open. So we had no idea this was even going to happen to us 4 weeks ago. So it's all kind of new
Yes.
and fresh, and we're open and receptive. So thank you, Jack. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, bye.